tongue-talking Christian.
Good for her.
Yeah, I don't know yet whether she recommitted, because when you are fighting like this, you need to go and refuel for more protection. But I was told that I saw her. I was also told that Mama Najinda was there. Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but that discussion is going to be definitely powerful. Some of the presenters, the Lord Mayor, the KCCA Executive Director, Justice James Ogola.
The debate is the thing.
Yes,
actually,
they'll be presenting,
I don't know
so
if
make sure you watch
digress a little. He's being accused that he hasn't yet returned a car since he retired.
Who?
Ogola.
He's entitled to one.
In today's Observer.
He's entitled to one. He's entitled to
retire,
benefits.
there are no retirement benefits.
Are you
there.
kidding
The car
me?
has to be retired.
No. When you retire
says
justice, you are some, maybe if it's that particular one. But he's entitled to a car. He's entitled to police security. I think one guard also. He's entitled to certain emoluments, a percentage of an amount that the salary was earning, and that kind of thing. He is entitled.
Anyway,
under fire over official. Let's get one more phone call before we wrap this up. Good morning. You're live on Morning at NTV. Hello.
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 You were just beeping us, eh?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning, Sebo.
No, Joel and Brian, I just wanted to put something straight. This is James from Gulu. Beatrice, Honorable Beatrice Anywa. She has already put a straight line on the affirmative action. She relinquished her woman seat and went and contested among men for Kitgum Municipality MP seat, which she went through. So I think that is the kind of heart that the women on affirmative action should be having. So I wanted to give that example. I thought it's very important for the discussion.
Oh,
fantastic.
Great.
You see?
Thank you, James.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Relinquish the seat.
You're welcome.
So there you are. So the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga and a couple of others need to pick a leaf. Okay, the whole tree or the whole forest. Things have got to change somehow.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Hey, you sound sleepy.
Sir?
Your contribution, sir.
What's your name first?
My name is Mohammed from Bush.
Yes, Muhammad. You want to. All right. I don't know how much time we have. If we can probably pick one more.
Should we get one more phone call?
All right. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yes, please. Morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm speaking to Brian Tekwa from Gulo.
Yes, Brian.
Now, I want to talk about this guy we talked about, Mrs. Ajay. It's very serious. Some lady talked about that earlier, that these are women who should at least leave seats for other people to make a at least also get the cake, part of the cake. Now, you cannot begin giving an example of someone who is headlining on a seat and not willing to give other people a chance. I think that is very appropriate. So I think also some of these women who want other women to have the best in life should be an example of leaving left seats. Basically that. Thanks a lot, Molondo. By the way, your name is Bye.
Thank you.
I hope you're not as naughty as he is.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Well, parting shot.
Parting shot is that everybody should earn their place. Are you a man? We don't want to give you a job just because you're a man. You've got to be competent. Are you a woman? We don't want to give you a job just because you're a woman, and don't keep playing this I'm a woman card. No. Add value to yourself so that even when we are saying let's push the ladies, and I agree we need to push them a little bit more because they go through quite a bit many times because of us men. We are the ones that put them through what we do. Yeah. But even as we are trying to lift up a woman, be competent enough so that we can defend and say the reason we're actually fronting this person is because she's not just a woman but a competent one. Okay, seems like there's a call that has run through. Let's just pick it and wrap up with that. Good morning. Okay. Hello, good morning. Okay, the call is done. So that's basically
my parting shot. I'm getting it from our colleagues' WhatsApp thingy, Frank Walusimbi. He says there is a special, he doesn't say, he quotes Madeleine Albright, a former U.S. Secretary of State, saying there's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women.
They're going to burn.
That's it. They're burning hell. All right, those images there are coming in from Protea Hotel and the national anthem being sung, and a reminder that the discussion is going to focus on building bridges and partnerships for peace in KCCA, and we'll be looking at the different policy options for effective service delivery and economic transformation. It's going to be a roundtable dialogue on the political and technical convergence at the KCCA. Jennifer MC,
Lord Mayor, in his position as Lord Mayor elect, or
still the Lord Mayor,
suspended Lord Mayor, because they're saying he hasn't yet received.
Well, he's going to be one of the presenters there, so make sure you catch it. So let's go to Protea now.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
I think we can have our seats. I'm going to invite. Yes, colleagues, I'm requesting you that since you have come early, take the opportunity to take the front seats so that those who come a bit late can take the seats behind you. Let us fill the seats that are in front. When we wouldn't want to have our cameras capture empty seats in front. We are very happy to receive in the House the Lord Mayor, Haji Elias Rukwago. And on this day, when we have the roundtable dialogue on political and technical cooperation, technical convergence in KCCA, and we discuss the topic, building bridges and partnerships for peace in Kampala City Authority, policy options for effective service delivery and economic transformation. I would want to take the honor to invite Dr. Arthur Binomujisha to give his opening remarks. This will be for 5 minutes. Then we shall have Mr. Richard Sewa Chirianga, the Executive Director of the NGO Forum, also giving some opening remarks after Arthur. Thank you very much, the Imam at Parliament. Please, you are welcome.
Let's humble ourselves for prayer. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Our Lord, we have assembled here to discuss very important and pertinent issues concerning our city, concerning our country. Our Lord, we seek for your guidance. Bless us and guide us to what is the most right. Amen.
Arthur, please come and give your opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Professor Winston's Master of Ceremonies. Thank you very much, Imam. The Minister for Economic Monitoring, Honorable Henry Banyanzachi, the Road Mayor of Kampala, Haji Elias Rukwago, the Vice Chairperson, the National Planning Authority, the Director of Planning, Kampala City Authority, my colleague Richard Sewachirianga, the Executive Director of the NGO Forum, who is a partner in convening this meeting. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me take this opportunity to warmly welcome you. My name is Dr. Binom Chaatha, Executive Director at ACODE, as introduced. I take the opportunity to welcome all of you and to thank you for honoring the invitation and come to discuss very important issues pertaining to our city, but also to our country. The main objective of this meeting, because it is different from the different meetings that we have organized here before, the State of the Nation platform and others, the objective is to initiate a process of constructive engagement between Kampala City Authorities' political and technical leadership in order to realize effective service delivery and economic transformation of our city and our country. And we have a theme, I think, which is instrumental for us. I imagine most of you have some paperwork before you. I want you to have a reflection about the theme that we chose: building bridges. Building bridges and partnerships for peace in KCCA, policy options for effective service delivery and economic transformation. I want to thank the Lord Mayor and KCCA, the key partners in the running of Kampala, for honoring this invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, we purposely chose you. This is a small meeting. It is small and purposely selected to discuss the pertinent issues that affect the effective performance of KCCA, so that we can then move together to a modern and well-functioning KCCA. Let me add that this meeting is not a silver bullet that would solve the problems of Kampala, but it is a first step in building confidence, in building partnership. So we are going to have a series of strategic meetings, of round tables between the political arm of KCCA and then the technical arm and the leadership of this country, so that at the end of the day, we have a partnership for peace that allows our people to work together in spite of their political differences. Because this country, in 2005, decided to adapt or to embrace a multi-party dispensation. A multi-party dispensation, or a democracy, basically says that we are different, but we are one people. And we work for the development of our country. So it allows competition to serve our people best. So what we are doing now, we are experiencing the challenges of democracy, but which challenges actually translate into effective service delivery, into the transformation of our country. We want to run this meeting very differently. As we go along on the program, Richard and I will be facilitating the discussion. And we think that we'll be discussing issues, we'll not be discussing personalities. We'll identify the problems, we'll also identify the solutions, and then together come up with the options for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming once again, and I look forward to a productive, respectful meeting today. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Worship, the Mayor of Kampala, the Honorable Minister for Economic Monitoring, the Deputy Chairperson of the National Planning Authority, the Director Planning Kampala City Council, Kampala City Authority, ladies and gentlemen and honorable colleagues and councillors that I see, you are very welcome. As NGO Forum, we associate with this meeting because it is an important part of building citizen-led governance that allows all of us to flourish in all situations. The word I want to add in my 5 minutes is to say that the whole question of urban governance is not a question that only affects Kampala. the world over, urban areas are always hard areas to govern. And the reason why urban areas are hard areas to govern is because the urban population represents the diversity that we have. In your Kampala, you will find everybody from every part of Kampala represented. You have places called Chifumbira, Chitoro, I don't know what else, but there are hundreds of diversities. Chimombasa, Chijaluo, and many things. But that tells you something about the diversity, but it also tells you about the heterogeneity of Kampala. The other thing is that a city does represent both our best life and worst life. In Kampala, there are places you go to, homes that look like Hollywood homes, and there are places you go to in Kampala that even in no rural area you can find such hostility of living. So that diversity is also important because it tells you that then a city is not just a simple thing. But also in Kampala is where you find diversities in emotions. Rural people do not understand what we call road rage, when we are annoyed in traffic, when we drive around and become very, tensed up because of the fact that we are in the city. The city is always a place to compete for space, to compete for ways in which you can live better, and it's always a place of interesting and a lot of tension. So indeed, if one comes to the city, in any part of the world, the first thing that you need to do is to understand that the city is unique. The way you govern a city, therefore, cannot be the same way you govern a rural area. Because indeed, if you are to think about the people who know about this country, all of them are resident in Kampala. And the elite, in fact, you will be surprised that nearly everybody in Kampala, by some definition, is some type of elite. Because when they go to villages and they say, I'm from Kampala, they take on another form and another identity. But that tells you something about the fact that the city in any country represents another type of citizenship that one has to engage with. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason we come to this meeting is to understand that urban governance in Kampala is not something that we can assume will be like governance elsewhere. The laws that govern the city, for example, are things that we need to interrogate much more seriously. The ACODE is a think tank. We are an advocacy organization, and we think that probably we need to study many elements of this city so that we can, in many ways, understand how this city runs. I keep telling Arthur that this city is my village. When he goes to the village, for me, I have no village. I was born in Nakasero. I lived 2 kilometers away here in Windsor Crescent. My father was a chief health inspector for Kampala City Council for 30 years. So I am a city-born person. And indeed, when we talk about the city, I realize that while some people think that the problems of Kampala are recent, actually, for us who have lived here, at least for my 49 years, I can tell you that the problems of Kampala have always been there. And we have always had an urban challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to add those words and invite all of you to use this meeting to surface how we can improve the ways in which a city like Kampala can be governed. Because indeed, if we do that, I think many of us will go away happy, and many of us can benefit from every city. Because indeed, a city needs its citizens more than anything else. In a city, it is very, very hard to manipulate people. It is very hard to impose things on people because everybody is an active participant in a city in one way or another. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming, and we hope we shall have a productive meeting as we continue to explore how to improve governance in the city of Kampala and its metropolitan parts, which are also being consumed by this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arthur Binomugisha, and thank you very much, Mr. Richard Sewachirianga, for those beautiful words, which are actually opening remarks. Now, before I hand over to Arthur and Richard, who are going to be the main facilitators of this roundtable dialogue, I want to say that Arthur has already told us really the purpose and the roadmap as we go on in a series of meetings of this nature, basically to have more consultations and more meetings with different stakeholders for the purpose of hammering out a working relationship between the political and the technical leadership of Kampala City for the benefit of service delivery and for the good and welfare of each and every person that occupies and lives in this city. Now, before I hand over to the two who are going to be facilitating this meeting, allow me to take the honor to first and foremost recognize the presence of Minister Honorable Henry Banyinzachi, Minister of State for Economic Monitoring, and also say that he is going to be our guest of honor, and he's going to give his opening remarks of this important roundtable discussion. So we are at a point of really officially opening this discussion, and I would wish to request the minister to come on the podium and officially give his remarks, but also open this meeting. Thank you very much, Honorable Banyinzachi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. The Road Mayor, Alhaji Elias Lukwago, the Vice Chairperson for National Planning Authority, Dr. Beru Gwendere, the Executive Director of ACODE, representative from KCCA, ladies and gentlemen, members of Parliament present, the present members of Parliament and the elect members of Parliament, you are welcome all to this dialogue. I'm very delighted to be here to open this very, very important dialogue, which is actually a landmark in our Uganda politics and specifically Kampala politics, in a sense that this dialogue is coming at the onset of the next term of office of His Excellency the President, and definitely that one of the Lord Mayor who is incoming and who has been there. And of course there is a new dispensation at KCCA, which we recognize that was actually a tsunami for the NRM, because the NRM did not get any representation within KCCA. So we take that as a new dispensation, and of course as a government, we are a government that respects the rule of law. We are the government that accommodates dispensation of other political parties from other shades of political dispensation. We are the NRM has organized these elections, and we conceded defeat, and therefore we have no option but to work with the opposition, with the KCCA, which is dominated by the opposition. And we also expect that the Lord Mayor and the other executives that have come definitely will come ready to work with the government, because of course all we are looking here, and this dialogue, I expect that will help us to come out with some challenges that are facing us, the challenges of corporate governance.
The KCCA Act of 2010 established the office of the president, the office of the minister. It established the road mayor, which are the councillors, and which is the political wing, and the technical wing headed by the executive director with his technocrats. So this kind of tripartite arrangement works in a corporate governance manner. The challenge that we have now is to make sure that this corporate governance is really directed in a manner that will give effective delivery, effective service delivery for people of Kampala. And of course, as we all go into the future of Kampala metropolitan city. Kampala as it is now today, you can see it expands beyond the boundaries of Kampala. It goes to Akiso, it goes to Mukono, and I think we are thinking our direction into the Kampala metropolitan area, which will be explained by the Vice Chairperson of National Planning Authority, and definitely with the Planning Director, Mr. Atwine Moses. So our focus, as we focus there, and as we focus for the greater metropolitan Kampala, the challenges that face Kampala today, we all know, mainly is the infrastructure development of Kampala. Our city is not, the growth of our city and the growth of our infrastructure development are not developing at the same pace. Most of you have traveled widely and you know what it means, what a city should look like. To me, the biggest challenge for Kampala today is the infrastructure development, the infrastructure framework that we have. And this is a very big challenge. The other challenge is, of course, to have a Kampala which will create a conducive environment, a trade order that is so conducive to allow trade in Kampala. When you look at Kampala, Kampala is basically not an administrative city, but more or less of a commercial city. The planning of Kampala then, Kampala had been planned as a commercial city, and Entebbe had been planned as an administrative city. The two functions at one time fused together for Kampala to be both administrative and commercial city. And probably this is why we are saying this kind of packed Kampala, and we have this kind of the infrastructure challenges. So we need to change the image of our Kampala. We need to change the infrastructure. We need to create space for everybody. We should not sit here and pretend that the space that is required is the space for the politicians to have their space and technocrats have their space. The most important thing is for the people who live in Kampala. The young population, the challenges of the youth that we are facing, they need jobs. They need where to work from. So, therefore, in my opinion, and our focus is to make sure that there is this kind of, we get a solution for this kind of challenges. We create markets. Kampala should be, the image of Kampala and the overall outlook of Kampala should be geared towards the greater Kampala, as I had said before. And I therefore look at a post-2016 Kampala that is peaceful. And my message here is a message of peace. And as I meet here and you see smiling with my friend, the road mayor, the smile is for real. It's deep from my heart. And equally his smile is deep from his heart. The only challenge that we face is that when they see me smiling with Lukwago, we are meeting with Lukwago, we are chatting our way forward, they say, hey, Lukwago is being compromised. Who tells you that when Lukwago works with government, when Lukwago have a tea with the president, when Lukwago has a cup of tea with the minister, the ED, then why do you think that he has now compromised? Why don't you say that now they are working together, I think we are going to have a better Kampala? Why don't you have that kind of, we have that kind of thinking? So that's where I look for. It is a Kampala of peace. The post-2016 Kampala is Kampala of peace. And I want to make this statement again. Whoever was thinking and thought that the Lord Mayor, Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago is not going to occupy his office in the next term, he will. And you take it to me, this is an assertion I'm asserting this is the position of the government. So, ladies and gentlemen, my duty is to open this forum officially and have a constructive dialogue. So we see where do we need to do policy reforms, where do we need to amend the law, and even when we are going to amend the law and we are going to make the policy reforms, it should be in a hurry. It shouldn't be in a hurry. We should engage all stakeholders, because Kampala is for us all, and Kampala is a gateway to Uganda, and Uganda is ours all. And Kampala, Uganda is bigger than any individual. So, ladies and gentlemen, with those few remarks, I open this dialogue officially. Thank you very much.
I think another round of applause to the minister as well. So it's a new chapter, a new page, and an era of peace. I think that is important to start our meeting on. It's a very good footing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you all have the agenda for this meeting, you will see session moderators, Dr. Atabe Nomcha, who is a peace specialist, and Justice Ogola. But Justice Ogola is not around. He's part of the Elders platform, and they have gone to Rwenzori sub-region. Our facilitator is my brother, Richard Sewachirianga. And what we wanted to do before I invite Dr. Rendire and the KCCA and the Lord Mayor is to first to agree with us together the ground rules that can govern our discussion. This is really a diagnostic kind of dialogue. It is a clinic. It's a problem solving. So we'll try to get the issues. So what we will do before we go into diagnosis, because we know where we are coming from, is to facilitate a discussion between you and us so that we can agree on the guidelines that will actually rule our discussion. Because we know that there are people who are hurting because we are coming from a conflict situation. One of the first casualties in a conflict situation is communication. Communication breakdown. And when communication breaks down, then rumors, then anything takes its toll. So what we'll be doing now is to establish the lines of communication. So I wanted my brother Richard Sewachirianga to help down some of the ground rules that guide us. We discuss, and we will not take a lot of time. People, be patient with us. What should guide us as we discuss? Because I know there are people from the opposition, from government, so there have been some hurts, and you know them. We can't gross them, over them. And today we'll be humanizing ourselves and healing ourselves. So I wanted, by show of hands, people to help me. Help me propose some of the rules that could govern us, and we write them there so that when we are discussing and we want to go out there, we say, rule number 2, rule number 1. So what would guide us? Imam, you want to suggest? Yes, sir? Yeah, time management. That we will manage our time very well, because also time management causes conflict. So we are going to manage our time well. If you are given 5 minutes, please stick to 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Imam. Yes, ma'am. That we stop unnecessary movements. In any case, we are on air, so if we move, we will be distracted. Yes, sir. That we should respect each other as Ugandans, as citizens, but also as people. Yes, sir. That people should introduce themselves so that we know and we can call each other by name. By the way, that is important in conflict resolution. Imam, you have another one? That we should discuss issues here and not personalities, because actually I think that is very, very important. It's the issues that actually separate us that we need to deal with, not personalities. Do I have another hand, or you think that's a good constitution? Yeah? Professor, yes, Professor Mshemez. That we put our phones in silence so that we don't obstruct. Do I have any more, or I can? Okay? Yes, sir. That we should listen each other and people should talk with interaction, with the hope that you will also be given an opportunity to speak. That within the time we are given, that one is already there. Because the listening actually is a skill and we are learning. This is leadership. Okay? Maybe this is sufficient. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can we adapt that as our constitution? It's adapted? Thank you very much. If that is our constitution and it is well written there, we will respect that. Then that will help our discussions. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your constitution. I now take this opportunity to invite the Vice Chairperson of the National Planning Authority, Professor Abel Rendile, to give us the strategic view of Kampala. Professor.
Thank you very much, Asa and your colleagues. Asa is a very clever man. He had to do his remarks. And Richard, before setting rules, that they will not affect them. But don't worry, Asa and Richard, Honorable Minister, Henry Vanyazachi, Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago, my good friend, Honorable Members of Parliament who are here, and particularly one very good friend of mine, is actually not a very good friend, is my former student at Chambogo, when it used to be Uganda Polytechnic Chambogo. I had a very illustrious student there with leadership qualities, and I'm very delighted to say even now that he's the mayor-elect of Nakawa Division. Balimwezo, stand up for recognition. That is the sign of what the voters were looking for. Leadership that has skills, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm representing the chairperson of National Planning Authority, who is abroad on duty, and I was hoping that the slides would be a little clearer from my side. They seem to be a little small, but we could go to the next slide, which gives the planning framework for this country. So if we have to have a future for Kampala City, definitely it has to be planned. And indeed there are plans for it. And our planning system has the Vision 2040 as the long-term plan, and then derived out of that would be the 10-year, but 5-year, and then the sectoral plans and the local government plans, and so on. So the planning framework is a hybrid one. It is bottom up and top down, and certainly we start with the vision. So the next slide shows you some of the aspirations, 7 aspirations of Ugandans. When we went out soliciting views of Ugandans on what they would want to see, and see Uganda be like in the year 2040. Then they said, number 1 is to leave in a secure, certainly harmonious and stable nation. But for me, the most important one is living in a situation where you have unity in diversity with equal opportunities, with no discrimination. So it's important not to discriminate against anyone, either because you have got your political position or you are a female or male or along the clan. So this was one of the main aspirations of Ugandans. So it is quite important that we look at that. Then the second one was that all Ugandans wanted to be resourceful and work and be prosperous people. So it is important. And at that, they want to access the high quality services. So services they needed would be not just mere services, but of high quality. And then infrastructure. Infrastructure should be world-class infrastructure. And ensuring that the services too are world-class and not substandard. And then suddenly they would want to live in a good environment. But one, I think, element which is not being shown there is that they wanted to live in a moral society, rather a society with high moral standards as well as ethical standards. So those were the 7 elements, the 7 aspirations of Ugandans when we went out seeking their views of what they would want to see Uganda be like in 2040. And the Vision 2040 was inaugurated in 2013 after it was passed by Parliament, and all the parliamentarians, irrespective of their position, whether it is opposition or government, they took it as their main now theme, their main document that would guide the development of this country. So the Vision 2040 is a minimum development. Now, of some of the fundamentals, the next slide was transport, and Kampala certainly has its challenges of transport. And the next slide, if you could go to the next slide, the next one, that one would be the, so the National Development Plan, which helps to implement the Vision 2040 or to achieve the Vision 2040. The Vision 2040 has 30 years. The current one is the second National Development Plan, and has got 5 areas of focus. And the 5 areas are agriculture, transport, tourism, human resource, and then the minerals and development. The next slide, I'm showing what KCCA, but I think a representative of what position of what, when I was a student, in terms of transport, we used to use the UTC bus, so an indication of what it was in Kampala at the time. I was a student, and then next we'll show you the road network. So the next slide, if we could pay attention, would give now. Our city. The challenges, there are quite a number, but most importantly are planning, especially physical planning. So we need to make a lot of strides on that. We have got rapid growth of population, definitely, now more than 2 million. And during the states. And then we have got rapid expansion and inefficient use of space. Then services and infrastructure are very costly if you want to improve traffic jams. We've been all familiar with this, so we need to ensure we have efficient connectivity, and then high rates of employment, high rates of slum proliferation, and environmental degradation. I think someone put this slide here, for me, one of the technical people, and he said failure of the technical and political arms of the authority. But for me, as a diplomat, I would say dysfunctional relationship between the technical side to the political arm of the authority. So these are some of the challenges we have. The Vision 2040 envisaged. The Vision 2040 envisaged that our transport system would certainly be overhauled. And to overhaul the transport system, ensuring that we have flyovers and ensuring that we also have the trams and light rails. So these railway carriages and so on would be definitely roads. So for the time being, and so on, but a number of ring roads which would help to decongest Kampala. And the next slide should be able to show the ring roads that we envisage to have. For the time being, we haven't even completed one. The northern bypass and the southern bypass are supposed, actually, it is supposed to make only one ring, and we need to have 4, going all the way actually to Nsanji on PG on Masaka Road. Have the light rail going above the roads. So the next picture should be able to show you what we envisaged. So you may see some features of Kampala, like charm towers and so on. Now this road and rail is an artist impression of what we would want to see where Mukwano Industries is. This which you see cuts across. In fact, they assumes that properly. So we may have to relocate some of the structures that we have if we have to make Kampala a beautiful city that we would want to. So this is one of the highways that would be connecting Jinja and Kampala and continuing also to Masaka and Entebbe. But this requires, of course, long-term planning and investing quite a lot of money into it. But some work is being done, and we are very happy with the work that is done by Makerere University and the others. And this is the Kayora. So it is, of course, also Kayola in terms of the train. And if we can go to the next slide, the next year, we'll see some of the questions we are asking now. You've told us all those good things, You've given us some indication of what Kampala would be like in 2040. But now, the question is, can Kampala City improve with planning? And limitations in terms of growth and expansion. Can we expand? Yes, we can expand if we go upwards. So construction should be able to tell us that. Can we still maintain Kampala as a capital city? Yes. Why not? It is. And so long as we plan it very well so that the buildings are well accessible. And I'm happy the Lord Mayor is here. It's really not the law. I think it is us, the people who try to implement the law, that make it difficult. But we should not give the law usually as an excuse. It is us as individuals. We need to be able to accommodate each other and work very well with each other. But how can we do this? Our proposal is that Kampala stretches beyond the traditional KCCA. It goes to PG, to Wakiso, area is very important. And in the NDP2, the National Development Plan, we have indicated exactly what we need to do, and we have set some of the objectives and interventions that need to be done by the stakeholders, and particularly KCCA. And if this can be done, then definitely or better livable than we have got at the moment. And one of the things we want to see, of course, is to ensure that there is integrated physical infrastructure development, planning and development. So that's very important. And so the formation of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Physical Planning Authority or whatever is important. So if we could do that quickly, get this off, the planning board, economic opportunities through innovation and progressive production and entrepreneurship. So if we can support such programs, certainly it would be very, very useful. Now, I want to end up on a slide that shows some of the projects which are already ongoing for KCCA according to the Vision 2040 and the NDP2. So if you can give me the next slide, some of the projects, like the Kampala Bus Rapid Transport Plan project, then you have got Kampala Roads Improvement Project, you have the rail-based urban mass transport system for the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, Kampala Light Rail Project, and the Kampala Jinja Highway, Kampala Drainage Improvement Project, Kampala Flyovers Project, and the Integrated Solid Waste Management Project. So the projects are there, and a number of others are coming online, but I think our main challenge once we plan and we have these projects done, they are implemented fairly quickly and also implemented in the way they should be, adhering to the international standards. And one of the vehicles definitely that would be helping us to move will be on the next slide. If you can go to another one. That's the GKMA, but next. Yeah. The principles we are proposing for the formation of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Physical Planning Authority would be to ensure that partnership, because there's been kind of fear that some of the local governments like Wakiso or Mukono and so on will be swallowed by as partners. So it's important. The other aspect is that they fear that they are going to lose the revenue if they give up some of this area. Now there has to be a well-calculated revenue sharing if it goes to the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area. So it is important that this is done. And also it is important that the symbiotic relationship is maintained, that we rely on each other, the interdependence. So it's not that we can't do it alone. No, we can't do it together. It is doing it together that is very, very important. And so effective participation of different stakeholders is quite important, because it helps us to minimize some of the problems. And then, of course, we should be looking at best practices in other regions in the world where megacities are very well managed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your kind attention, and I leave you with futuristic Kampala in Vision 2040 that envisages that we shall have the underground train. The next slide would be that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, National Planning Authority. Want to thank you for that glimpse of the future. It is better for us to look at the future, even if some may not reach there, but if they see there, they are motivated that one day their children will be there. But you have also showed us already started. You have given us energy. You have given us hope, because as we designed this meeting, we felt that it was important for people to be motivated, because some of the energies are low among some people. We've been doing some talking and we realized that people's energies are low. But when they are motivated to see the promised, but I'm also looking forward to the underground train. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, because the Lord Mayor will be leaving us shortly, but promised to come back. He has some legal issues to handle, but he'll come back. He will leave at a quarter to 10. And it's on this note that I wanted to request him and change the arrangement to come and give us his presentation in like the Lord Mayor.
Thank you, the Executive Director, ACODE. The Chief Guest, Honorable Minister, my good friend and brother, Honorable Banyenzachi, the Deputy Chairperson, Ndeire, the members of the NGO Forum. I've also talked about ACODE. The directors from KCCA, Parliament, President, the councillors who are here, and all other stakeholders from various sectors, not forgetting the mayors of division. Bear with me. One, I'm not feeling well. But most importantly, I think I should be excusing myself in a couple of minutes. I have got to attend to some urgent matter, as you may be aware. But I promise I'll be back in a short while. I would wish to extend my gratitude to our brothers in ACODE, the executive, and the NGO Forum for organizing this very, very important roundtable dialogue over very pertinent and important issues. It's long overdue, but as it's always said, it's never too late. Set into place a new governance system at KCCA. And I thank the Honorable Minister for the kind words he has presented before us this morning, and particularly the assurance that the Lord Mayor will take oath or will assume his office. The position he has made on behalf of government, it's quite important. That my presentation is about the challenges from a practical experience, given the fact that I've been at the thick of it. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, we have a new legal regime governing the city, governing KCCA. And that new legal regime was ushered in by a new constitutional amendment, which was inserted into the Constitution in 2005. If you looked at the provisions of Article 5, which were inserted into the Constitution by Act of 2005, that was the general principle made in the Constitution. And how that would be done, it was left to Parliament to decide the mechanism for ensuring that the central government governs Kampala. But at the same time, we have the provisions of Article 1, particularly Article 1, Clause 4 of the Constitution, which is to the effect that the people everywhere in the country, fair elections. That was challenge number one. How do you strike a balance between those two apparently conflicting provisions? I said mine was to give you an overview of the challenges we are facing. That is challenge number one. In Article 1, it's the will of the people. And you used is not governed by the central government. The mechanism was not rolled out in the Constitution. Naturally, the detail was left to Parliament, and the Article 5 provided that Parliament shall come up with a legislation to operationalize that provision. In their wisdom, and I was part of that August House, where I had a very good relationship with my brother, the Honorable Minister. For the central government to directly govern the city. And it would be a violation of the Constitution if elections were scrapped totally from Kampala. To say that if you looked at the provisions of Section 5 of the KCCA Act, that's what it exactly states. That KCCA shall govern Kampala for and on behalf of the central government. Now, that posed another challenge. What shape should it take? Should it be an authority like we are talking about, National Planning Authority, where my brother is the vice chairman, Honorable Edwardo, or NEMA, or URL, or it should be a unique brand, a unique form of an authority? Because here, with these other authorities, you have boards, you have the executive directors and so on and so forth. But with the KCCA, you have elected leadership, unlike in the case of other authorities. With KCCA, you have elected leadership. So the question arises, what would be the mandate of the elected leadership in an authority? And mark you, there are unique attributes of and they are councillors, mayors and councillors and so on and so forth. You have street committees if you looked at this act. You have villages and so on and so forth. So you have a body of leadership which, in a nutshell, the act created the situation, the constitutional legal regime created challenges on how to streamline governance of the city. And decisions that were put in the act, it became extremely work. And we must find a solution on how we think. I noticed again from that legal regime created within the institution, there is the tendency of dichotomizing the institution, the authority, which is dangerous. I'm sorry, with all due respect, Honorable Minister, you talked of a tripartite arrangement, that we have the central government, we have the political leadership, and we have the technical wing. With that arrangement, that way, that actually KCCA is split into two blocks, the political wing and the technical wing. It's not only in the minds of the people, but even literal and physical at KCCA. You would go there, the main block is administration. The short tower is political. Entity, one entity. And I think that has posed a serious challenge to say who is heading what. And some have trivialized this issue to say, that one is ego, is what? No. But they will say the road mayor heads the political wing, the executive director heads the technical wing. Now the institution is split into two. Where is now the, in a chain of command, in administrative structure, where is the meeting point? Wing, and the executive director heads the technical wing. Now, the superior entity, the organ there, or office, which one is that? Within the authority. The minister has supervisory powers. I'm just posing challenges we need to discuss. Yeah, I may not be having concrete ideas. Operationalization of this act. Before we even talk about the defects or the flaws in the law, but even its implementation, from a practical experience, I've noticed that we have not implemented even 30% of that act. Why? If you looked at the provisions of the Act, what is termed as KCCA? It may sound so strange, but this is the fact. It's in section 6, the composition of KCCA. The councillors of the authority. Now, the question you'd ask before you even talk about the technical team, the mayors of the division urban council, vision, and I'm being realistic on this, because if you looked at section 6 strictly, anyone can help us Google. You go to Yuri and you get the act. Section 6 talks of the Lord Mayor and the councillors, and that is all. The divisions have no functional votes, yet they have accounting officers. There is only one accounting officer at the authority level. The divisions have no accounting office, have no functional accounts. Yet they are considered also to be entities under the authority, in my interpretation. That's another challenge we need to look at. The various organs of the institution are non-existent. Several organs of the which make up this body called the KCCA are currently my brother Honorable Edwardo has been talking about the challenge of planning. We have a very important body called the Metropolitan Physical Planning Authority, provided for in section 21 and 22 of the KCCA Act. They are non-existent. And the commandant of that body and it's given the challenge, the mandate, to come up with a new structure plan for Kampala. We had the consultants
I use the 500 shillings daily bundle. I use the monthly bundle with 1 GB data.
Wait! Africell has all internet bundles.
Really?
Yes, all internet bundles from 10 MB to 100 GB from 1 hour to 1 year on the widest coverage at the cheapest price ever.
Wow!
Dial *133# now and select the bundle you need with the fastest speed and the best quality.
So Africell is really the king of the bundles.
Just buy a Pepsi, SMS the unique 4-digit code to 8888 and stand a chance to win.
My name is Eli. I'm one of the lucky winners who are going to watch finals for Champions League in Milan, Italy. So I'm very excited for winning this ticket, fully paid expenses.
Just buy a Pepsi, SMS the unique 4-digit code to 8888 and stand a chance to win.
We all long for a good home and a good working environment. We all long for a quality lifestyle, interior designing, and eco-friendly environment. Everyone has a longing for reliable construction material and a good plan to achieve this. Find this entire experience at the Property Expo. Free entry registration. Come get new inspiration for a quality lifestyle
at the UAP Business Park starting Thursday the 5th to 7th of May 2016 from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Just buy a Pepsi, SMS the unique 4-digit code to 8888 and stand a chance to win.
My name is Eli. I'm one of the lucky winners who are going to watch finals for Champions League in Milan, Italy. So I'm very...
We all long for a good home and a good working environment. We all long for a quality lifestyle, interior designing, and eco-friendly environment. Everyone has a longing for reliable construction material and a good plan to achieve this. Find this entire experience at the Property Expo. Free entry registration. Come get new inspiration for a quality lifestyle
at the UAP Business Park starting Thursday the 5th to 7th of May 2016 from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185 hash.
Amanya gange nze Mubiru Brian, Mvira Lugazi. Nkola ku Dynamo Disco Sounds. Nakolaganye ne Airtel Money. Nenyiga *185 hash. Jana wadende ne bankubira essimu era maze okuyola amajja gange 777. Nkubiriza abantu mwenna mukozese Airtel Money musobole okuwangula amajja nganze bwenjodde.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Fanta feel Fanta Food Blast. Fanta.
Wow.
Fanta. Fanta.
Amazing.
Fanta Food Blast. Fanta. Tasty Fanta. Fanta. Fanta Food Blast. Fanta. Tasty Fanta. Fanta. Tasty Fanta.
New Fanta Fruit Blast with honey. Wow, what an amazing taste.
Taste the feeling.
The Act and the reports, the regular reports which should be made. It's very, very important because these are the tools that we use to assess the performance of the institution because we have the oversight role to play as elected leadership. Final on those challenges, there are those who have talked about legal flaws. Yes, it's true. There are defects within the Act. My brother, Honorable Kashirinji, here would agree with me as a lawyer. The Act is in diametrical, variance with it's at variance with the doctrine of separation of powers. There is a fusion of the executive and legislative and the judicial, quasi-judicial powers. It's all fused into one. If you looked at Section 6 of the Act, the functions of the authority, setting service delivery standards, crafting the policy, coming up with the policies, traffic control, levying taxes, and so on and so forth. And when you go to Section 11 about the functions of the Lord Mayor, shall be the political head of the capital city, and shall also preside over all the authority meetings. And in Section 11(1)(e), which I've always craved to be implemented, it provides that the Lord Mayor shall be the head of the authority in developing strategies and programs for the development of the capital city. I've always longed for that provisions, that particular section to be implemented. Every time people emphasize the ceremonial functions of the Lord Mayor, I point at that particular provision. But at the same time, if you looked at Section 8 of the Act, we have the legislative powers. Yes, I'm winding up. We have the legislative powers. Now, the Lord Mayor was stripped of the powers to appoint cabinet. So we no longer have the executive body, just like it is with the case in the central government, that you have the executive, cabinet sits, comes up with the policies and bills, and they go to parliament. Here is a situation. The Lord Mayor, under Section 11(1)(e), initiates programs and strategies for the development of the capital city. He has no cabinet, save for only the deputy. I have only one position. So I sit with my deputy. This applies even to the divisions. There are provisions about division, the mayor and the vice. So I get the policies and programs, then I take them to council. So when I sit with my deputy, we sit as the executive. From there we get the policies, like now cabinet has sat, cabinet of only two, the Lord Mayor and his deputy. I'm chairman and the other one is vice chairman. The meeting is conducted. We from there, after crafting the policies, we take them to the council. Who presides over? Again, the same person, the Lord Mayor. I come and preside over as the speaker now. In my capacity now as the speaker. Now it is the same body, the council, which has powers also to impeach the Lord Mayor. There it is exercising judicial power or quasi-judicial powers. So there is a fusion there, which we need to address. But in good faith, there are those who are suggesting to amend the law in bad faith, having eyes about particular individual that is because so and so is occupying this position, we should weaken it. No, we need to open our minds. Finally, the rest of the challenges I think were highlighted ably by Dr. Ebo Rwendeire, the issues of planning, issues of huge population. I didn't know to respond to the same. I've also talked about transport policy, infrastructure development, because right now we have 1,200 kilometers of road network in Kampala. Honorable Minister, this is a huge challenge. 1,200 kilometers of road network. But what is Tamaka is less than 500. There's no way you can get rid of traffic jam. And I'm glad in the National Development Policy we are talking about flyovers instead of these cobweb junctions. These ones are archaic. Cobweb junctions are not fashionable and they cannot be, they are not acceptable in the modern planning system. And of course, integration of the various units within the planning processes. So we need to take big strides in that particular direction of paving our roads. It's very, very important. Then just a few, 1 or 2 minutes about the opportunities. The opportunities are available. It's not all, I don't want to paint a gloomy picture, otherwise I would be a prophet of doom. But in every dark, cloudy, there is a silver lining, it is always said. at least we have got the starting point. The National Planning Authority, you have done a wonderful work for us. At least we have where to start from. NDP1, National Development Plan 1, National Development Plan 2, we have all these projects you have talked about. Question is, how do we get involved in all this as elected leaders? How do we implement all this? I've also talked about the wonderful report that was made by these consultants. And this was their finding, ladies and gentlemen, that Kampala has got, being the part of, the capital city of the Pearl of Africa, has got the best in natural environment. The best natural environment. And this is an opportunity, East and Central Africa, because we can develop Kampala as a beach city. We are close to Lake Victoria. So there is this paradox. We are on the shores of Lake Victoria, but we are not feeling it. The city it seems to be very far away from the shores of Lake. Look at that shoreline. From Entebbe, you come all the way to Gaba, Luzira, to Mukono. We can extend the city along that corridor and we make it a beach city. It is possible. And that's what their advice was. And then we turn these beautiful hills. Originally there were 6 hills, but now they are quite many. They are more than 6. They are saying those ones can be, instead of allocating them to particular individuals who have amassed wealth to turn them into residential areas, they can be for recreation, and then the valleys we have as places of public resort and so on and so forth. The topography, they said we have the best environment in the region. Unfortunately, we have the best natural environment. Unfortunately, we have the worst built environment. The civilization we have here is the worst in the region. But the topography, the landscape is the best. You can't find these hills along a shoreline. It's difficult, but that is the nature of Kampala. And finally, one of the opportunities we have, increase the budget. It's another opportunity. Yes, the funds are inadequate, I agree. But now in the budget, if we have 562 billion, compared to 50 billion we used to have 5 years ago. Because by the time we took over as KCCA, the KCCA budget in total was 50 billion. Road fund was only 15 billion. Local revenue was just 28 billion, 30 billion. But now we are talking about 111 billion as local revenue. We are talking about statutory transfers from the central government in the region of 400 billion. We must put that money to proper use. And that calls for a robust institution called the KCCA with functional organs and institutions, and of course an accountable institution called KCCA. So we must have those systems in place where we shall guarantee value for money. I thank you very much. May God bless you.
I think another round of applause to our road mayor. I think the road mayor has also given us a glimpse of the future, and what a beautiful thing that we see the minds meet. I don't see any contradiction in the aspirations, but just one small gap, and that is the director of planning. After he has closed that, then we can see the future very, very clearly. But road mayor, thank you very much. You have shown us the challenges, but you have also shown us the opportunities. And the opportunities largely in the increased budget. Of course, with money, you are able to do even a lot. We can see reforms, the necessary reforms in the law, and the commitment to working together, I think, is one of the important milestones that we can get from here. Ladies and gentlemen, my imagination is that you've been taking down points which you can pose to the panel and to each other. So you have pens and you have notebooks. Please note that. In the interest of time, because the road mayor is going to run out briefly, but road mayor, I wanted you to listen to the director of planning and then you can actually leave. It's already time. Okay. But you'll be coming back. He'll be coming back. Let me take this opportunity then. So the Lord Mayor will peacefully exit, but then he will be coming back. He's going to court. But we are continuing. And have you designated someone, Lord Mayor? Someone to... who can sit in? Who can pose? Because we don't want a gap. Is it the Mayor Central? Thank you very much. So you'll take comments when the Road Mayor comes, you will brief him, and then we'll continue. Thank you very much, and God bless you. So let me invite Mr. Moses Atwine Kuninira, who is the Director of Fiscal Planning in the Directorate of Fiscal Planning of the Kampala City Authority, to give us the perspective from KCCA.
Good morning. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Minister for Economic Monitoring, the Honorable Members of Parliament present, the Lord Mayor-elect, the Honorable Dr. Abel Rendile, the Vice Chairperson for the National Planning Authority, Dr. Arthur Binomugisha, the ED, ACODE and your team, the academia and the think tanks present, the Honorable Division Mayors, the Honorable KCCA Councillors, the Divisional Town Clerks I saw around, and my friend Pastor Joshua, you are there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very much honored, we as KCCA, to have this kind of August House to dialogue or to discuss issues that concern all of us. One important thing to appreciate is that we are stakeholders in whatever category you want to put yourself, whether you are a technocrat or you're a resident, you're an investor, you are a tourist. In one way or the other, you are a stakeholder in the territory called Kampala Capital City Authority. So for us, from Kampala Capital City Authority, we feel greatly honored to have you discuss matters that concern all of us, and as we attempt to make strides and overcome some of the challenges. As one speaker one time said, I will not dwell much on the matters of the generals. I will leave things for the generals to be discussed by the generals. So what the Lord Mayor was discussing, it is something that I cannot dwell on, but is a matter that will be handled by the politicians. We did not prepare a technical report or submission for this meeting. I must apologize, partly because it was a short notice, but also we had an overstretched week. But there is nothing magical that I would have presented different from what Honorable Dr. Rendile presented to us, because we definitely made an input into the National Development Plan, which, of course, he was summarizing. So I totally agree with his submissions and presentations, because I'm very much aware that we made an input into that. And to emphasize is that once the National Planning Authority has made that policy position, the rest of government structures have to incorporate in their strategic plans, in their annual work plans, all the issues as presented in the National Development Plan. So I must assure you that what KCCA is currently implementing or planning to implement is in line with what has been highlighted in the National Development Plan. But just to summarize, our focus and emphasis of work is definitely focusing on the provision of basic socioeconomic services. You must have seen in the last 5 years of KCCA, if I must say, some tangible changes and developments in the different sectors, mainly in the road sector, where we are trying to improve both connectivity and mobility of our city residents to make sure that we avail them with adequate road infrastructure to help them connect between their businesses and residences. And I must say that right now we have a program which is going to run for the next 2.5 to 3 years, targeting to improve about 29 junctions, road junctions, where some of them are going to be signalized, others are going to be widened, and we also have a flyover project where we are partnering with the Ministry of Works, which is going to run between Wampeo up to Kibuye via Mokwano. And that one, I think the groundbreaking will be sometime end of this year. We also target under this program to have over 150 kilometers of paved road, upgrading the earth roads into paved roads. Then we also have a program to improve the drainage. As you must agree with us, is that Kampala is faced with the challenge of flooding because of the population growth, but also there has been a lot of encroachment on our drainage systems. So we have a program to improve our drainage systems in the next 2 and 3 years. We have improvements in the education sector, mainly focusing on primary schools that are under KCCA. We have developed a strategic plan where we want to, at least to begin with, to make sure that every division has a model school. A model school intended to cater for the deficit of where you have residents moving from one division, maybe crossing 2 divisions, taking their children to school, and therefore causing unnecessary traffic jams. So this is intended to provide the standards that any one person would say staying in Nakawa would find a reasonable school without any reason to cross town, going maybe to Machindye, in this case, to take their children. So that is one of the program that we have in the education sector. But in the meantime also, we are improving what is existing, the different primary schools, making sure that they have proper sanitation, they have proper classrooms, they have full staffing, and to make sure that the children are safe and secure in their learning environment. Underemployment and the improvement of livelihoods for city residents, we have different programs, some supported by the central government, and also development partners. We have market improvement programs. Right now we have a big project in Busega where we're trying to improve the working space for market people around Busega or in Rubaga division for that matter, so that people can have a better working environment, but also to improve the public health aspect of our food handling and other goods. Of course, that is in addition to what we already have in Wandegea. We also have a project upcoming in Nakawa division, and the target is that every division will have a major modern market that can guarantee public safety and good life. We also have a program to improve health services. As KCCA, of course, we have hospitals which are directly under our jurisdiction. You must agree with us, some of you who have seen some of these projects. We have an upcoming hospital in Machindye division, that is Chirudu, which is going to be a 120 hospital bed, a 120 bed facility. It is, I think, like 80% at completion stage. Then we have a similar project in Kawempe division. And of course, in the central division, we are still engaging Ministry of Health to fully transfer the Naguru hospital facility to be under KCCA. In other divisions, yes, we have Chitebi in Rubaga division, which is also undergoing major improvement programs. So these are quick fixes that we are trying to handle. Of course, appreciating that we can never have a martial budget to start everything as we would wish. But as the little funds become available, we make sure that we fix areas where there is critical need. And also in the central division, we have Kisenyi Health Center. For some of you who have had the opportunity to go there, we have the state-of-the-art equipment there, like the dental section, and other services, clinical services. In fact, the facility has been overwhelmed by the demand from not only residents of Kampala, but people come from the different districts really to demand from that service. So, and this is just an achievement that we have done in the last few years, of course with the donor support and the central government. We also have programs to improve the environment, both environmental protection but also beautification. This area is still facing some challenges because we have lots of encroachment on our wetlands, which are very critical for our drainage systems. But we are working with other partners like National Environment Authority, the Department of Water, Wetlands, and the Ministry of Water to make sure that we curtail encroachment in that area. In the last few years, we've had a huge influx of investors over those spaces, which, of course, is a contradiction on the part of government because some of these investors have valid land titles issued by the departments of government. And here we are as KCCA supposed to guide them or control or deny them the chance to develop in those wetlands. So it's kind of a contradiction, but that one we are trying to manage at that level. In the housing sector, we, as government, of course, we've not ventured into the direct provision of housing, especially for residentials. But we have made it a policy that the new generation of housing units coming into the city must abide by certain standards. And if you must develop any new structure in the city, there are certain stringent measures that you have to follow for you to have some of these buildings come up. Save for the building which collapsed a while ago. That is actually a project that has stalled for a number of years. That project actually got the approval, I think, in 2009. And I think the developer didn't have proper cash flow. You can imagine a structure which has been open to rain, sunshine, and everything. The foundations have been penetrated by water over 8 years. And this is someone who was trying to make up his site again. In fact, he didn't abide by our notices because as of early last year, our inspectors found him trying to clean it up and gave him a notice to resubmit his plans so that he can be assisted on how to proceed. And he didn't take care. And of course, we have a number of resistance in the public domain where a number of people, even some of us in this building, where we are staying in houses where we never submitted plans for proper guidance. I say that because I know sometimes we catch people who we think really should be conversant with the procedures, and they don't want to follow. And when they get problems, of course, we all get concerned, but we are trying to make sure that we make it very inconvenient for someone to develop a building without following the guidelines. Of course, following this incident, we are going even to be more strict and also to allow the law to take its course. The other area that I may want to, touch a bit is about peace and security. Of course, you may want to say that how does KCCA come into peace and security? We are very mindful that for our city to be vibrant, to be attractive and livable, we must be partners in providing peace and security for our city residents. We have projects of installing, of course, street lighting, making sure that city residents can move at night. but also installing CCTV cameras. We have made pilots in that area to make sure that monitoring the city can be easy, in addition to making sure that all our available walkways are paved so that people can walk comfortably without risking fracturing their limbs. But these are ongoing programs that we hope to achieve in the next coming years, funds being available. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can summarize my remarks as such, but in principle, I'm in agreement with what Honorable Dr. Abel Rendile presented to us, because those are the strategic action areas that we are focusing on our daily activities. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
Amanya gange nze Alinde William Jody okuva Fort Portal. Nazze bankubidde essimu olunaku olwajjo nze omu ku bawanguzi abalina okuyingira mu kyuma naye ng'okuwangula badde nkwata ssente ne nziteekanga ku leeni yange ya Airtel era njoddemu $23,115. Nebaza Airtel era abantu bonna mbakubiriza mweyunge ku Airtel yola amaja.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Taste the feeling. Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
Amanya mpitibwa Mulindwa Matia okuva Iganga. Olwaleero nze muwanguzi wa Airtel. Nze okuyingira mu kyuma eky'okuyoola ssente, yoola majja, era nsobodde okuyoola $54,000 ssente okuyingira mu kazannyo kano mbadde nkozesa Airtel Money nga mpeereza abantu n'okumukozesa nga ngula airtime. Nebaza nnyo aba Airtel olw'okubanga baateekawo promotion eno.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
GDP of Uganda, and also it contributes the largest share of the national GDP within East African region. Look at Nairobi. Nairobi contributes only 20%. Dar es Salaam contributes 15%. Uganda's Kampala contributes 65%. So the economy of Uganda is hosted here in the city. It's projected to become a mega city in the next 20 years of about 10 million people. And the city has grown at an average of about 5.6% per annum in the last 12 years. Next. Kampala is the center of Uganda's what we call urbanized corridor. This corridor runs from Mbarara, Masaka in the west, then Jinja, Tororo, Mbale in the east. That's what they have historically referred as the urbanized corridor. As we move from Kenya, then we go down to the west. As you know, we're a landlocked country, So we needed to manage this center very, very carefully because it's what, links us to the western axis to the northern corridor of the economy. And also 60% of the residents living in this city, they are living in slums, and of which the average individual in Kampala is aged 15.5 years. It's a very young city, very young population, and it's the second youngest in the world actually, after Niger. You find we have the youngest residents, but they are staying in slums, of which about 54% stay in Muzigo, one room of a house. Kampala has for a long time, exhibited deep institutional dysfunctionality. It hasn't started yesterday, which for decades rendered the implementation of effective planning virtually impossible, very, very difficult. Next. To analyze KCCA, however, you need to put the economy in perspective. And here, I think some of these figures, we are aware of them. The economy has not been doing quite well in the last 6 years. We have been growing at an average of 5.7 in that period, yet our target, which Honorable Rendeire is working on under his planning, is 7% per annum. We have also had an export gap because we are exporting about 19.3% of GDP in the last 6 years, and yet our potential and our target is about 25% of GDP. The average inflation has been 9.9%, quite running at that rate, and yet Bank of Uganda tells us the target should be about 5 for us to move comfortably. And on that graph you see, whenever you see that dotted line, which symbolizes the inflation, above the thick blue line, which looks at the average growth rate of the economy, then you know your economy is not doing quite well. So in the last 6 years, we have had that challenge in the national economy. Next. Private sector investment. This is a private sector-led economy, as you are aware. But in the last couple of years, we've seen private sector investment going down. Look at the panel on the right. I don't know whether you can see it clearly. I think someone should help me and tilt that projector. It went off a bit. That panel shows you that when you look at the years from around 2010 there up to now, the investment by the private sector, which is purple, has gone down. In 2014, it even crossed the negative line. We haven't been investing in the economy. When you look at public investment, is what is shooting up after that period. It's the public which is investing. So this has implications on the health of the economy. And as we are going to put in perspective, we will see how Kampala is so critical in explaining this. Next. Now, the official reasons for this performance, which is not good, this is the position by government, by Bank of Uganda, Minister of Finance, is that we have been doing not well because of global financial crisis and economic slowdown. As you are aware, what's happening in the global economy in the US, in the Eurozone. These are places where we take our exports. They haven't been growing quite well, so they have an impact. The exchange rate volatility, we are aware. Seasonality in the key food basket areas of Uganda, where drought has been affecting our food production and therefore inflation becomes inevitable. Things like power shortages, which we had, especially a couple of years ago, 2011, 2012, you remember the challenge we had here. This impacted the manufacturing and other sectors, and the economy did not grow quite well. This is the official position. However, next. On the ground realities point to the fact that there has been increased political risk in Uganda. And this is due to the politically inspired violence, the protests and uncertainty, particularly in Kampala. The riots, the run around. We know some of these issues. And the heritage, there is a foundation called the Heritage Foundation. This is the most respected foundations in measuring political risk in every country in the world. When investors are taking decisions to invest in a country, they first look at their economic freedom index. Indicates that we scored 59.7%, not percent, that's the rank, we scored out of 100 in 2015, last year. And this was Uganda's second lowest economic freedom score ever in the history of the country. And in November, Moody's, again another agency which helps investors to assess where to put money, especially when it comes to rating on our sovereign debt performance, downgraded us from stable to negative just last year. And these have plunged the economy into a silent and steady crisis, which you know, have been playing out. Next. Some more macro indicators. Look at those indicators there. We are aware of them. I cover you with some of these things we know. Next. Now, I want to come to this. What's the problem of Kampala when you analyze from an economic perspective? What's the problem? Hey, this is what research tells us, that in the few years ago, there was a profound institutional crisis hampering the governance of Uganda's capital city. They did econometric research here and they found that governance crisis had rooted itself in the city and had rendered planning and implementation of these wonderful projects to have, you know, very, very difficult. Kampala was, you know, decaying and full of hazards, as Mazului one time put it. However, in the last 5 years, the KCCA made some observable progress in terms of attempting to address some of the hitherto insolvable problems of Kampala, which we know. Go to the next slide and they see some of the things. This is the Kampala before and the Kampala after. Same street, you know, you look at how we were entering the park, the tax park, the old tax park, and how we are entering it today. That's one of the, you know, technical solutions which have happened. Next. Look at the garbage. Before, in Machinde, where I grew up from, we had a stage, I don't know whether it is still there, called the Kasasiro stage. When you direct people to your home, you say, come and disembark at Kasasiro, then you slope down to the Mwara, you know. This was the Kampala. Next. We had this street here, and look at that other street. There's someone crossing the road, I don't know how. But you see, from the potholes to that kind of environment. Next. Before, we had this was our street, you know, of Kampala, a cocktail of all things, bring it up together, people, animals, vehicles, in other words, just immobile. Afterwards, we see some kind of arrangement where the KCCA can organize a street and they create a Sunday market where people can, you know, do business from. Next. Look at this, you know, Kampala before, at night, and Kampala after, at night. Yeah. We were walking in the darkness. No, go on. Now, I know there are those who are feeling good that they have done some good progress in Kampala. But please first hold on your dancing shoes and consider that that is, by the way, a football manager who was managing a football club. And he said, statistics, just like miniskirts, they give you good ideas, but they hide the most important thing. What we have been seeing is the statistics. Go on. There is some other side of the coin which we need to look at. These technical solutions, which we have seen, arguably conceal more than they reveal the real symbiotic problems of Kampala. The conflict in Kampala needs deep and careful analysis. It's a perennial problem rooted in governments and not KCCA per se, failure to address the enduring political questions as well as the structural challenges in the economy. How the economy is structured, how the politics is structured. These are some of the things you need to discuss beyond the technical solutions. Next. While the KCCA conflict is interesting from an economic perspective, we cannot adequately capture it through the narrow prism of cost-benefit analysis. We need some kind of a holistic approach. And that's why I would thank very much the organizers of this, that we come together from different, tribes, from different walks of life, from different professions and offices, and discuss the problem of Kampala beyond the technical solutions we discuss in boardrooms. Now, from an economic point of view, this conflict looks more as an agency conflict, what we call agency conflict, between managers and the shareholders. The managers are those at the KCCA, the technical people. The shareholders are the people of Kampala and Uganda, represented by the Lord Mayor and the other elected leaders. One can look at it around that angle, but that would be wrong, as you're going to see. Conventionally, when Dr. Arthur was calling me, he told me to talk about the economic cost of this conflict. Conventionally, we analyze cost of conflict in economics using two major methods. The accounting method, by looking at the direct and indirect costs. How many people have been affected in terms of getting off the street, how many businesses have been destroyed, and so on and so forth. But also we have modeling. Sometimes we model, which would help us to see how Kampala would have developed had the conflict not been there. Unfortunately for modeling, where as economists, this is our bread and butter, for the case of KCCA, the data which is there is scanty, very scanty, and dirty, in quotes. It has a lot of question marks. When you try to model, you see a lot of noise in it. So we looked at a certain model we can use, which usually we use in analyzing conflict. This model looks at a conflict scenario versus a peace scenario. In the conflict scenario, that is the panel on the left, there is what we call baseline growth. This is the normal growth. And then there is a curve below it, which we call the growth path. Now, it shows you that the baseline growth under conflict is above the growth. This is how Kampala has been operating in the previous couple of years. On the right-hand side, we have the peace scenario. In case issues were okay at KCCA, we would see the growth rate above the baseline. And we are going to confirm this by looking at some of the few kind of studies we managed to do on this. I chose to use what we call a simulation and game to look at this KCCA problem because of data challenges. And the available data shows that during the conflict time, the last couple of years, KCCA has been spending more on operations than it did on capital projects. Although causality could be very difficult to establish here, in other words, when you spend more on operations, what caused that? And also, is it the one which is causing the low performance of the institution? That's quite difficult to establish, given the type of data we have. However, you're going to see a lot of pockets of causality in some of, that table shows you the expenditure in billion shillings between operation and capital. And I picked it from the global rating, credit rating report of the KCCA for 2015. It is illustrated there on the diagram to show you, and look carefully, observe carefully the relationship between the movement, the trend in those curves and the period. KCCA came into being in 2011, 2012. As the new law was coming into force, expenditure.
NTV, turning on your world.
You can now become an exclusive MTV reporter on the go. With the NTV Go mobile app, you can create news by capturing and sharing content instantly. Simply download the NTV Go app on Google Play Store. Go to the N Reporter feature and start reporting as the news happens. We will air your story on a special TV program. NTV Go also allows you to watch news, instant live updates, and follow your favorite show from the comfort of your home, taxi, or your favorite kafunda. Download NTV Go app now from Play Store.
Beauty Tips is brought to you by
Now with micro droplets of Vaseline jelly. Vaseline lotion deeply moisturizes dry skin and keeps skin smooth and restored for 3 times longer.
This week on T Nation.
Random and funny right here. You tell your crew, I tell my crew, we party all night.
Catch a brand new episode of T Nation every Saturday at 11 a.m. only on NTV.
This program is rated PG. It is suitable for children ages 8 and above, but parental guidance is advised as it might contain mild violence and mature situations.
So he went to his office to confront him face to face. That only made things worse.
Right, that's exactly what I mean, Lucia. Listen, I think they'll never let you go live all by yourself. It's obvious, my dear, that you're going to go with him, with Martin. Imagine your father. Look, he would not only cut you into tiny little pieces, but he would lock you away in a room filled with red ants until you're dead.
That sucks, Val. But what can I do? I don't want to live with my parents anymore. I want to live with Martin. But I can't just leave my mother with all these problems.
I hated that life, Father. I wanted to get out of that hell no matter what the cost. And I thought I'd done it, that I'd left behind all that pain and suffering. But it wasn't easy. The past keeps following me. I can't ever escape from this nightmare. What can I do?
What if I talked to your family, child? I could explain to them the reasons that led you to do what you did.
No. I told you they wouldn't understand it. I can't risk losing them. I would die. What's more, Gerardo's acting very strange with me.
Well then, I don't know how else to help you, my child. Sometimes, even if it's hard, it's better to tell the truth. Because secrets and lies can only lead us into a dead end and make life worse.
Tell me about it, Father. Do you remember the baby with the diamonds?
Yes.
Well, now Antonio thinks I'm the mother.
I don't understand. Did you give him that suggestion?
No. I only told him that he had a daughter and he thought it might be Lucia.
Oh, my dear sweet Lord. Do you even know where his daughter is? It would be nice at least if Antonio could reunite with her.
No, that's impossible, Father. The girl's dead.
I didn't say anything to Eva, so she wouldn't get worried. But I think he has a fever once again.
Yes, but when I woke up, I felt him, and he seemed just fine.
Don't worry, Eva. We're going to run some more tests, and we're going to give some antibiotics to this boy, okay?
Well, I'll go check on Rosara then. She's still very nervous about the fire.
What fire?
Yes, last night there was a fire in the factory, but thank God it was controlled and nothing major happened to it.
Well, let me take this little angel now, and I'm going to tell Charlie to bring you some coffee. You like something else?
No, I'm fine.
No, we're fine here, thank you.
you.
Listen, Doctor, wouldn't it be better to take Edwardo to the clinic? That way we could find out what's wrong with him sooner?
Just relax, Eva. Everything's going to be all right. Remember, you're not alone. I'm personally going to take care of your son and make sure he's fine.
Thank you. You're like, I never had anybody that took such good care of me and my son.
Not even his father? And where is he?
I was so relaxed, so calm after what happened. And then suddenly, ding dong.
What?
The bell rang.
Did the beauties come back then, brother?
No. It was Barbara.
Oh, I can imagine, baby.
No, the truth is that she was very different. No screaming, no fighting. She even helped me take care of my hangover.
That's weird, brother. Well, if Barbara keeps that up, she's the one for you then, right? 1 or 2 jealous tantrums once in a while. She loves you. You can manipulate her, then it's perfect.
No, Sergio. I honestly hope that's the end of that.
Well, brother, relax. Given the time, if you keep at it, maybe you'll fall in love with her. Excuse me. Hello? Yes, I know it's you, imbecile. What happened with the barbecue?
The plan failed. A company employee was there and he caught it just in time. He put out the fire.
What? How, you idiot? Why didn't you make certain... No, wait, shut up. Shut up. We had a deal and you didn't keep it. This isn't over yet.
What happened? What's that about a barbecue?
My contact at Venus is a moron. We had us a plan, and it failed.
What plan? What are you talking about?
The fire at Venus.
What?
You didn't know? But I told you.
But a fire? Aqua? Planning a fire at Venus? What crazy idea is that, Sergio? I mean, how could you even think of that?
Edwardo doesn't have a father. He never did, and he doesn't need one now.
Okay. But I think that all children in the world need a father.
No. I didn't have one, and I'm here.
Yes, you did, Eva. At least until you were 8 years old, anyway.
Oh, yes. That's very true. Did you know my father?
Yes. He was a very good man. And he adored you. And listen to what I'm saying. A father is always necessary in a child's life.
When they're good, yes. But when they're not worth it, it's better to pretend that they're dead. Edwardo's father is no good. He's a jerk, a womanizer, a chronic liar. He doesn't even know he got a woman pregnant. And you know what? If he knew, I don't think he'd even care.
How do you know that, Eva? How do you know he wouldn't be an excellent father? Why do you deny him the right to know he has a son?
Because he doesn't deserve it. Edwardo's an angel, and it's not his fault he has the father he does.
That's not right. There's no explanation. How could we go so far as to start a fire at Venus?
Listen, brother, there was no other way. We weren't able to get the sketches for the Rose Diamond collection.
Wait, then explain to me why.
Because this is a war. A very bloody war. One where only the strong survive.
No, I don't agree with that. The last standing survivor is the most clever one, the smart one, the one who knows how to seize the moment, not the one that burns the opponent, please. What if someone had been there?
Brother, my God, nobody was there.
Listen to yourself. Just how far have you gone? Tell me, who the hell authorized this operation? Who?
Your father. Mr. Gerardo authorized the operation, brother.
Well, not me. To me, this is a pathetic and cowardly crime. This is unacceptable.
Don't be so hard, Eva. I myself, I had a daughter and I never knew about her.
A daughter? How come you never knew about her then, Antonio?
Because her mother made the same decision you're making right now with your child. We all make mistakes in our life. When I was young, I was very irresponsible, a bit crazy. But if I'd known that girl existed, I assure you my life would have been different.
And why don't you look for her now? Why don't you try to recover all the time you lost with her?
Because my daughter died. At least that's what they told me. And if she had lived, she'd be more or less your age. I would have been content if she were as sweet as you.